I recently read Nuclear War, a Scenario by Annie Jacobsen. It was an entertaining book and was very timely given the rising tensions around the world. However, the entertainment aspects aside, there are a few issues I want to point out. But before this, I want to make a couple of things clear. I'm not making light of a potential nuclear war. The devastation of a nuclear war would be high enough, and the chances of surviving it are low enough as it is, without exaggerating them. My main complaint about Annie Jacobsen's book is that it can lead to panic and a sense of helplessness instead of preparedness for an event that hopefully never takes place. Now, here is a quick synopsis of the book. The overall outline is this. North Korea, for whatever reason, decides to conduct a first-strike nuclear attack on the United States. The American president is whisked away by his protection detail. The decision is made to conduct retaliatory strikes against North Korea. Officials try to contact the Russian president to inform him of the strike and to clarify that the strike is intended for North Korea, not Russia. But they are told that the Russian president is only available for the American president. The result is that the strike is misconstrued by the Russians as an attack on Russia itself. The decision is made to conduct an all-out nuclear attack on the United States in response. Once this strike is detected by the Americans, the decision is made to return the favor. Fast forward, and in Jacobsen's post-nuclear war world, the Earth is perpetually covered in radiation, which adversely affects higher life forms. Human beings are sent back to a Neolithic manner of living, and Jacobsen wonders if, when humans once again regain civilization, if future anthropologists will discover the remains of our current civilization. There is a bit more to the story, but this is the gist of it. As a thriller, and as complete doom porn, this was an excellent read, or rather, listen if you get the audiobook. However, several things strain credulity. The Russians detected the American missiles heading towards North Korea and mistook these missiles as heading for Russia. Yet somehow, they didn't detect North Korea's first strike towards the United States in the first place. The Russians decided to counterstrike what they perceived to be an American first strike, despite refusing to talk to the Americans who were trying to open a dialogue. What did they think the Americans wanted to say? Were they announcing their first strike in advance? Why not open communications with the Americans before deciding to let their missiles fly? It's true that the time window for launching a counterstrike is short, but we live in the digital age of instant communication. And no doubt, such a scenario has been gamed out in the past, and some sort of quick back channel exists for such an instance. My other issue with Jacobsen's post-nuclear war world assumes the entire world will be covered in deadly radiation and will suffer from a nuclear winter for decades, if not longer. This scenario paints surviving a nuclear war as a real Kobayashi Maru situation. It's certainly true that the closer you are to where the blasts occur, the lower your chances of survival. The further away, the better your chances. For example, if you are in South America, which is my personal pick for best place to be, if the nukes fly, you will likely be at least a continent, an entire hemisphere away from the closest detonation. Even for those people where severe radiation levels occur, those lethal levels will have mostly subsided within 2 to 3 weeks. You will, of course, want to hunker down in a building with thick walls, ideally with no windows, to protect from the lethal doses of radiation that occur within the first couple of weeks. Furthermore, the modern understanding of nuclear winter is that it wouldn't be anywhere near as severe as once thought. Initially, the theory was widely accepted and promoted by influential figures like Carl Sagan, who believed that the catastrophic consequences would deter nuclear war. However, more recent analysis shows that the impact of aerosols from nuclear explosions might not be as long-lasting or severe as once thought. Aerosols, unlike gases like CO2, settle relatively quickly due to gravity and rain, reducing their potential to cause prolonged global cooling. Comparisons with volcanic eruptions, such as Mount Pinatubo in 1991, which significantly impacted the climate by injecting sulfur dioxide into the stratosphere, suggest that the ash and smoke from nuclear explosions may not have a similar lasting effect. Volcanic eruptions emit sulfur dioxide, creating sulfate aerosols that persist longer in the atmosphere compared to smoke from fires, which settles more rapidly. Evidence from historical nuclear bombings and large fires, like the Hiroshima attack and the 2017 Canadian forest fire, shows that while these events generate significant smoke, it tends to settle quickly and does not lead to long-term climate change. Additionally, the lack of measurable cooling effects from events like the Kuwait oil fires in 1991 further undermines the nuclear winter theory. Ultimately, while the fear of nuclear winter has been a powerful deterrent, the evidence suggests that its potential impact may have been overstated, leading to a reassessment of the theory's validity. The point here isn't to trivialize nuclear winter or any aspect of nuclear war. The thought of a nuclear war, especially given rising tensions around the world, keeps me up at night. But rather than being paralyzed by fear, I prefer to be prepared, and I worry that Annie spreads a sort of helplessness where people assume there's nothing they can do in such an event, and this is far from true. In any case, it was still an enjoyable read, and as they say, if you're going to read it, don't do it at nighttime.